when I was about 12 or 13, like my parents used to have seances in the living room next to my bedroom, which I did not know, by the way, that was happening. It was every Thursday night. Every time they would end the session, their friend would leave, and then whatever spirit they had called, which was the same one every week, will come to my room. The first time it happened, I wasn't sure what was happening, and I kind of like was freaking out. And then finally I realized, like, if I have a conversation with a guy, like, he just goes away, and he kept asking me for the same thing. So it just evolved
How
from
old
there.
were you at that time?
I was like about 13 to 14, around that age.
And what was the literal process? Was it a voice? Did you feel? Did you see? What did...
No, so the first time it happened, it's like I was laying in bed and I was trying to go to sleep, and I felt my bed move. And I was just like, oh, I was wondering if my mom was coming in to tell me something or whatever. And so I just turned around and I looked, and I saw this man standing on the bed like literally like sitting on my bed. I was like, I freaked out. I grabbed the blanket and I just covered my head. Like, it was just stupid,
the
right?
blanket trick usually works.
Dude, but it kind of does. And so I just waited. I held my breath, and then it just like went away. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'd imagine this, right? And it was about every other week that it did it. And then it happened again and again. And to the point that I started being like, okay, well, this is not going away. Either I'm going crazy or there's something about it. So one day I sat up and actually was like, what do you want?
It's the same person every time.
Same exact spirit. I heard, I'm looking for my son. It was a really old soul. It was a soul that was literally like wearing clothes that looked like medieval. So it was ancient. First of all, like, I wasn't aware this what my parents were doing. Like, now I know it was a seance, but at the time I had no idea. I didn't find out until like I was in my 30s, like late 30s actually. I'm in my 50s now. I didn't know. And I was talking to my mom about it. She was like, oh yeah, we used to do the seances in the living room. I'm like, are you shitting me? I'm like, really? And so I told her what I saw, and we compared notes. And it was exactly the spirit they were calling. I was just like, crying out loud.
Oh, they weren't happy with in that room, and they came to you to see if you had better luck?
No, because it's like, if you are going to do something as stupid as doing a seance, please do not do that. Like, they thought like, oh, we're done. Great, now we go to sleep. But that soul is like, well, I'm here.
So the seance, I feel like, usually has a negative connotation to it. Is it a negative thing to do? Like,
I don't recommend doing it, no.
And you're just calling spirits, that's essentially what it is? Like,
well, because the thing is, like, my mother is very gifted, right? And so whoever came through, and they continue to have conversation with him, like, she could actually kind of know that she was not specifically being messed around with. But people, like, what is it called? Ouija board? Ouija board. I can never pronounce it properly. That's the French in me. I don't know how to pronounce it. But anyway, the Ouija board, right? It's like, you are basically calling upon any soul that's walking around, or just might be like, hey, a bunch of dumb teenagers, let's mess with them, right? So it's not going to be grandma that comes through. It could be anything that you have no control or idea over. And it's not going to hurt you, but it will freak you out.